It's not too shabby, right? It's only been a week and I'm already checking something off my crochet bucket list. So if you didn't see it, last week I released a video where I detailed all the things that were on my crochet bucket list. One of those things was learning how to read and understand crochet charts, because up until this point, that's just not a skill that I've ever picked up. But hopefully today I can begin changing that. Because I am still fairly restricted with how much I can crochet because of health reasons, I need to do a project that is low crochet, and I thought learning how to read a crochet chart would fulfill that need nicely. Now I could go out, peruse the internet and find myself a tutorial or, you know, a chart guide and just learn it that way. But where's the fun in that? So what I'm going to do instead is set myself a fun little challenge. For this to work out, I have enlisted the aid of my sister, and she has found for me 3 different crochet granny square charts. She tells me they are ranked in order from easiest to hardest. Now, she is not a crocheter herself, so we're going to take that with just a little pinch of salt, because I don't know how she determined that. However, she also tells me that these 3 squares come from 2 different websites, and the reason that she picked these ones is because A, they came from websites that were geared towards teaching people how to read and understand charts, and B, these squares also have the written pattern available for them, so you can sort of test your chart against the written pattern, which is going to be helpful to me towards the end of this video, because my plan here today is to try and use my crochet knowledge to figure out these charts for myself. And I mean, looking at them now, like especially this one, the hardest one. Are any of you familiar with the OG Dwarf Fortress game? Do you remember seeing a screenshot or a video of that for the first time and just going, what the hell is this mess? I'm kind of having a similar reaction right now. Anyway, back on track. So the little challenge that I'm setting myself today is to attempt to read these crochet charts for myself. I'll try and figure out the pattern. Crochet, I want to crochet at least one of them. I will see how my everything goes, and that will determine whether I crochet a second and or a third one. But first, I'm going to try and figure out what exactly I'm crocheting. All right, so this is the so-called easy square. Now, because it's a granny square, I'm assuming we start in the middle here. Now, I apologize if this is a little bit blurry. Maybe it's not showing up as blurry on the camera, but I believe my sister did blow these up rather large so we could all see them properly. All right, so first thing that stands out to me is there are numbers. There's a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. My assumption there is that they are the rounds. Perhaps. Don't know what else it could be. So that's what I'm going to go with. They're round numbers. And the next thing I'm going to assume is that these symbols here, these sort of flat-ish ovals, they're chains. Hang on a second. Are crochet symbols universal? Or is there a difference between, say, like US and UK terminology? Well, terminology, symbolism, as there is in sort of the written pattern format that I'm used to. That could certainly be an issue. Going back to the assumptions that I'm making, to me, these 4 flat ovular circles, I'm assuming they're chains. And because there's 4 of them, perhaps you start off this granny square with the chain 4 method. So if I do say like round 1, I'm going to write this down as I go. So can you guys see all right? So round 1, we start off with, actually I'll do chain 4. And then round 1. Now, if my assumption is correct, and these 4 little ovals in the center are chains, then it would make sense that this is where we start, and we would start by chaining 3. So round 1 would be chain 3. Because we've chained 3, that leads me then to believe that this first symbol here is sort of a tall T with a singular diagonal strike through it. So this one. That leads me to believe that this is a double crochet, because normally to match the height of a double crochet, you would chain 3. If it was a half double crochet, we'd probably be chaining 2. If it was a triple crochet, we'd probably be chaining 4. So I think we do 3 double crochet, well, correct myself, 2 double crochet, but our chain 3 counts as a double crochet. We do those 3. So we do those. Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought then. Just to defend myself, I'm filming this at about 6:30 in the morning after getting about 2 hours sleep. So if I make any mistakes, I'm going to blame it on that. I'm assuming this first cluster is worked into our chain 4 circle that we made. So chain 3 followed by 2 double crochet. So that's that. Which would mean then I think we chain 2 here. That looks like a chain 2 to me. And then that is going to be followed by 3 more double crochet inside our circle. So we're going to go 3 double crochet, followed by a chain 2, chain and 2. Then it looks like 3 more double crochet, 3 double crochet, then a chain 2, 3 more double crochet, 3 double crochet, and then we finish with a chain 2. Between our first chain 3 and our last chain 2, there is a little circle here. I'm wondering if that means slip stitch, because normally if I'm working, say, the first round of a granny square, I want to slip stitch to join the last stitches to my first stitch or my starting chain. So maybe that's what that means. So I'm just going to write at the end, slip stitch to join. Should I crochet this as we go or crochet it all at the end? I might crochet as we go. It will give me like a little bit of rest in between that. That might be a good idea. Normally, I do like to start off with a magic circle for my granny squares, but I am following the pattern, or at least I hope I'm following the pattern. And we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I just noticed that there is another one of those little circles here, as there is here. So perhaps that does mean slip stitch. That's the theory I'm running with anyway. So we're going to slip stitch into the first. Then we chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. 2 double crochet. So then I'm going to finish off with my last chain 2 here. 1, 2, and then slip stitch back into my original chain. And there we have round 1 of the granny square complete. And I think I can say fairly confidently that I got that correct, but that's not really a great achievement because, I mean, let's be real. This is just like standard granny square stuff. I think the challenge is going to come in the subsequent rounds, because I look at what is round 2 here, and I don't think I've ever made a granny square that has this particular shape. So this is going to test me a little bit. So we're starting off. So let's write down our pattern here, round 2. So it doesn't look like we chain and then begin working the round. And I do again wonder if it's relevant that number 2 is here. Is that an indication of where the round should start? Because looking like there, that looks like a chain. And then just above it, it's a little bit blurry, but just above that is another one of what I'm assuming is the slip stitch symbol. I think we chain 1. And then because we've chained 1, perhaps then this symbol here, the one that looks like a cross, is single crochet. All right, we're going to try that. We're going to put in 1 single crochet. So that goes into the chain space. So for the next bit, it seems to me all these stitches and chains are worked into the middle double crochet. So in that, we would do 3 double crochet, chain 2, and then do 3 double crochet. If I'm correct that this cross is a single crochet, we then work that into the chains 2 space from round 1. And then it looks like we just repeat that around the round. I've done my last double crochet here, and I think we slip stitch straight into that chain 1 that we did at the start. I don't think I'm doing too bad. I mean, that's a diamond shape. I've got a diamond shape. Things seem to be working out okay. Will the same be true for round 3 though? Let's find out. So round 3, I'm assuming starts up here. Again, we've got the chain that would start us off. In this case, it looks like we start with a single crochet as well. Then after our single crochet, it seems that we chain 1 again. So we're going to chain 1. Here's a thing, right? These symbols here, to me, they look taller than these ones. Does that mean these are triple crochet? They're a taller stitch. But I would think that if this was a triple crochet, the symbol would be different somehow, because the double crochet, what I think is the double crochet, is the elongated T with the diagonal line through it. So it's sort of this shape. That's what I'm assuming is the double crochet. That is the same symbol. It's just taller. It looks taller to me. So while that leads me in the direction that it is a taller stitch, i.e. the triple crochet, I would really imagine that the symbol itself would do something to distinguish it from the double crochet if that was the case. So if this was a triple crochet, maybe it would be a T with, I don't know, 3 lines through it or something, because it would be utterly ridiculous if that was a triple crochet, but it had the exact same design as the double crochet. The only difference is in its height. I don't know. They just look a lot taller to me. I can even check that. Let's measure. I've got my tape measure here. So these ones are like roughly 2 centimeters. These ones are about 3.5. So that's like a 1.5 centimeters difference. Oh, is that difference enough to make me go, yeah, that's triple crochet? I'm just not convinced that the symbols would be the same. It would be stupid if the symbols were the same. You'd need to be able to differentiate between a double crochet and a triple crochet, and not have to rely on like getting your tape measure out and measuring the stitches. Now I'm gonna stick with double crochet. I think they're double crochet. That's my gut instinct, and I'm going with it. So we've got our chain 1. In this case, it looks like we're working the cluster, which is like this part here, into this single crochet. So into that single crochet, so I'll write part B is in single crochet of round 2, we're going to work 4 double crochet. I'm sticking to my guns that they're double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2 and then do 4 more double crochet in the same stitch. That's the words I'm looking for, in the same stitch. Then the next part of the repeat seems to be a chain. So we're chaining 1, then a single crochet in the chain 2 space in here. So we go chain 1, then 1 single crochet, all right, in chain 2 space, and then another chain 1. And from there, it just looks like we're repeating again. So we do the same sort of cluster in this single crochet, then chain and work into the chain 2 space, cluster, chain 2 space, cluster, finish with a, okay, so we finish with a chain 1, but then a slip stitch. I mean, yeah. I'm pretty sure they were supposed to be double crochet. I mean, even if it's wrong, it still looks pretty good, I think. All right, round 4 it is. Round 4, where are you? Where's the little number? Over here. So we're starting in, that looks like this chain 2 space. Okay, so round 4, to me, looks to be just single crochet all the way around. We start with a chain 1 and then a single crochet into the chain 2 space, into chain 2 space. Then we chain 2, do another single crochet into the chain 2 space again, and then it looks like just a single crochet into every stitch or chain along the side of the round. And then for every chain 2 space from the previous round, we do 1 single crochet, 2 chains, 1 single crochet. I mean, that seems straightforward enough. I think I'm just going to write for round 4 in brackets, single crochet around. And then for the final round, round 5, it looks like we're just starting in the chain 2 space here. And it seems we're basically doing what we did in the previous round, round 4, except we're replacing the single crochet with double crochet. So in each chain 2 space, there is 1 double crochet, a chain 2, and a double crochet. And then for the side of the row, we just double crochet into each stitch from the previous round. Again, relatively straightforward. And there we have it. Granny square complete. I gotta be honest, I feel pretty confident about this one. I think I got it right. For any of you out there who are experienced with the crochet charts, you can let me know, but I will be checking the pattern, later on. I want to give the medium one a go first. But look, even if I didn't get all of the stitches correct, I still made a granny square. I mean, that looks all right to me. I'm happy with that. Yeah, so I think my first foray into reading a crochet chart went pretty damn well. I still don't know if I got all the symbols right, but you can't argue with the results. It might be one of those cases where, like you take a maths exam and you somehow end up with the right answer, but your entire method and working out was flawed. Just to use a completely hypothetical example. Being so good at maths, that never happened to me. But anyway, that one is done for now. I'm going to make, or at least attempt to make, the second one. And then I think I'm going to attempt to work out the pattern for this one, but I don't think I'll be able to crochet it today. My shoulder's giving me a little bit of grief. I think I'll be all right doing this one, but yeah, I might be pushing it if I tried to crochet this one. First thing I want to do is count how many rounds we're working with. So we've got a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. Okay, so similar round count. We're starting off, it looks like, with the chain 4 method again, but this time we're chaining 4, which, following on what I'm going to say discovered, but I don't know if discovered is the correct term. What I assumed, that's probably a better word to go with. What I assumed in this first one, I think then that this might be a triple crochet, because what I think is double crochet has that one line through it. And when I was rambling before trying to decide whether these were doubles or triples, I said that I would imagine a triple would have, you know, more lines, something to make it distinct from the double. And this does. But it's also thrown me another curve in that the stitches themselves, they're not straight lines like these ones were. They're rounded. What the hell does that mean? And I've just realised I haven't been recording. Bloody hell, Lee, get it together. Bloody, I can't believe I did that. No, actually, I can believe I did that. Because I forgot to record, this is what I'm talking about. These stitches here, they're not straight lines like these ones were, where they were all working into the same stitch. They're curved. Look, I'm just going to go with a puff stitch. So we're going to start off with a chain 4. Then round 1 begins with a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that chain 4 is the chain 4 to create the circle. Then we're going to chain 4 to begin, and then it's a puff stitch. I think, I don't know. I'm going to go a puff stitch 1, puff stitch, and then chain 3. Chain 3, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to repeat that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So times 8. I started this first square off like pretty confidently. I think I got it right. I cannot say the same for this square. I really don't know if this is a puff stitch or not. This is just going to be like a shot in the dark rather than an educated guess. And then I finish on a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and a slip stitch. All right, well, I've got 8 puff stitches. Whether or not I was supposed to have 8 puff stitches, I don't know. But at least I got 8 of something. So hopefully, even if it's not 100% correct, I'm still on the right track. What are we doing in round 2? So it looks like we start with a chain 1, and I think this was the single crochet. Yeah, I determined that was a single crochet. So that single crochet goes into the chain 3 space, in chain 3 space, and then we chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 5, and then we just repeat that around. That at least seems fairly simple. I can follow that. Let's see, round 3 starts here, so we're going to start in the top of the chain 3 space. Round, you can still see, round 3. We're going to chain 1, then we're going to single crochet in the chain 5 space, in chain 5 space. Then that is a triple crochet. So my double crochet was 1 line, and this has 3. I know that stitch is taller than the triple crochet, but I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head. It's not like a double, triple or something. But you know what? I'm just going to call that a triple crochet. So we're doing 2 triple crochets in the first 2 chains, then 3 triple crochets in the third, then followed by 2 more triple crochets in each of the last 2 chains. But we're putting a chain 1 between each of the individual triple crochets. And then we're going to repeat that around. So round 4 is going to start with a chain 3. Or hang on, no, is that a chain 4? And then into the 1, 2, 3, first 4 chain 1 spaces between our triple crochet, we place a double. And then in the 5th and 6th chain 1 spaces, there's this thing again. My nemesis at the moment, the oval. See, this oval has 1 diagonal line through each of the vertical ones, whereas this one here had 2. I don't know the significance of that. For now, I'm just going to leave it as a puff stitch. That is definitely something that I'm going to have to, you know, consult the internet about, because I'm not sure what that could be. And again, I'm wondering what the difference between the 1 diagonal stroke and the 2 diagonal strokes is. Is that an indication of the height of the stitch? I don't know. But for now, I'm just going to treat it as a puff stitch. So we're going to do 2 puff stitches in the chain 1 space, and then I assume we do 4 more down, 1, 2, 3, 4, down the other side. Then 4 double crochet in chain 1 space. So that we'll just call that part A. Part B is to then, no, that's a triple. These are doubles, so it's got the 1 diagonal line. I think this is the triple because it's got 2. So maybe that should have been taller, because that's got 3 diagonal lines. 1, 2, and 3. Didn't mean to do that. So yeah, maybe the single dash is a double. The double dash is the triple, and then the 3 dashes are what in my head at the moment I'm calling the double triple, but I'm not sure that's correct. But it is the stitch that is taller than the triple crochet. So in each of the single crochet between my triple crochet clusters here, I'm going to place another triple crochet. But like with all the other parts, we just take this section here and repeat it around. Look, it's still vaguely square shaped. I don't think I've done it right, but it's not so wrong that it's not like recognizably a granny square. At least that's what I'm telling myself. So we're going to finish off with round 4, and round 5 it seems. Oh, you idiot. I just realized I was supposed to put 3 chains between each of my probably not puff stitches. And I only did 1 because I was doing 1 for the rest of it. I want to fix that, but I am reaching my crochet limit for today. You know what? I've acknowledged the mistake. You guys know I made the mistake. I believe I've made multiple mistakes in this square so far, so it's not a huge deal. I'm just going to go on with round 5 anyway. I already have a feeling this square is buggered up. Yeah, I just don't want to like push too much crochet at the moment, because like I know what happens when I do that. We're going round 5. We start with a chain 1 in what is supposed to be a chain 3 space, but at the moment it's only a chain 1 space. So chain 1, Then we do two, oh, okay, this just looks like a single crochet border. So we're going to do 2 single crochet in chain, again, supposed to be a chain 3 space. And then it looks like we just do 2 single crochet or an increase in every chain 1 space from the previous round. What can I say about this one? Mistakes were definitely made. Some out of just stupidity, me not reading the pattern properly and, you know, not realizing there's supposed to be 3 chains there and not 1. But others, I think, were just out of ignorance of crochet charts. I don't know what that is supposed to be. And also this taller stitch, I think that might be the stitch that is taller than the triple crochet. But all in all, I don't think I did a bad job, you know, considering I'm essentially making shit up as I go along. So again, it's not a perfect square, but you know, it's vaguely there. You can see I was going for a granny square. And also kudos to my sister too, because this one was definitely a bit harder than the first. Not extremely difficult. That might be coming up next. But yeah, it was definitely a step above. But that is, I would like to crochet the 3rd square, but that is all I can do at the moment. I do not want to push it. But I will go over, I think, the 3rd and supposedly harder square and at least try and work out the pattern. Oh boy. Even just looking at this, I can see some new things that give me pause. All right, well, this one doesn't have 4 chains in the middle. That's just a circle. So maybe this one does start off with a magic circle. Let's slot that in. Round 1. Magic circle. And then it looks like we chain 1 and then do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochet. So chain 1. Can you all see that? Yep. 6 single crochet. Then round 2, we start here. I don't know if these, all right, so with the first 2, to me it seemed like the number was placed where you start the round. But looking at this one, the 2 is here, and it looks like you start the round here. Well, this one's definitely harder. It's already thrown me for a loop, and we're only on round 1. All right, I'm gonna assume, because like there's this, what I think is a slip stitch here. So I'm going to assume this is the start of round 2. We're going to chain 1, 1 single crochet, which is there, chain 3, and I think we're going to repeat that. So chain 3, so that's 1, 2, repeat that 3 times, and then we slip stitch to finish. And again, the number is here, but I think the start of the round is here. And then so round 3 begins with, again, a chain 1. And then it looks like we go single. Is that a half double? I haven't seen that symbol yet, but it is like the, go back to my original scribbles here. This is what I thought the double was. This symbol is essentially the long T, the elongated T, without the diagonal dash through it. My presumption here is that's half double crochet. So in the chain 3 space, so in chain 3 space, we're going to do a single, a half double, 3 doubles, 3 double crochet, a half double, and then another single. Okay, I mean, that makes sense shape-wise. You go short, taller, tall, and then back down again. And then we do 1 single crochet, and then we repeat that 3 times. So we slip stitch to finish here, which means this is probably the start of round 4. So for round 4, it looks like we chain 2, but why the hell is the single crochet in a circle? What does it mean? There is a single border around this single crochet symbol. But if we look to like one of the later rounds, there are 2 borders around the single crochet. I don't know what to do with that. What could that mean? There is a circle around your single crochet symbol. I mean, what things can you do to a single crochet? Maybe it's like front loop, back loop? But which is which? Like one could be front loop only, one could be worked in the back loop only. But yeah, I nothing, but I can't, it doesn't correlate in my head. Which one would you assign to front loop and which one would you assign to back loop? I don't really have any other ideas of what that could be. I really don't know. So I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to call 1 circle around the single crochet. I'm going to call that front loop only. And then the 2, I'm going to call that back loop only. And I think it's a detriment at the moment that I can't crochet it because I can't see what it looks like. Because at least if I could physically see the piece, I could maybe figure out if like back loop only, front loop only would work in this context. So that it's got a line there. It's indicating it's worked in the half double crochets. So in half double crochet of the first half double crochet of round 3, we're going to do front loop only, 1 single crochet. Hang on a second. No, I think I've done... Yeah, I think I buggered up again. I don't think I should have been counting the clusters of single, half, double, double crochet. I think that might be round 5. I think round 4 is just these chains. Round 4, I think, is just chain 2. We start with our chain 2, 1, 2, and then we do in the half double crochet of round 3, we do our front loop only single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then we chain 3, and then we do in the second half double crochet of round 3, we do another single crochet. Yeah, so I think I got it right that time. This section here, this sort of ring of chains, I think that's round 4. Yeah, this one's definitely a bit harder. So I think that's what we do for round 4, and then round 5 is where we do those clusters of stitches again. So let me write that out because I basically did that here. All right. Next problem. For round 5, which is this here, I've done my first cluster. I've written that down. But there's nothing in between this cluster and this cluster in round 5. So this space here is empty. Now I'm wondering if this circle around the outside of the single crochet symbol from round 4 is an indication that you need to work back into round 4 during round 5. So what I mean is I do this cluster, so I'd go single, half double, double, 3 double, half double, single, but then work back into here for maybe another single crochet. Maybe that's what that means. I need to do 2 single crochet like in this same space. And then after I do that single crochet there, I would go on to do the next cluster of stitches. Because if that's not it, then I don't have, there's no like chain symbol, there's no other crochet symbol here that would link the first cluster to the second cluster, and like so on and so forth. That's just empty. And now of course I've got to ask the question, if that is what that means, if I work 2 single crochet here, do I then work 3 single crochet here? Is that why there's 2 rings around it? All right, I'll try and figure that out when I get to it. So let's do round 6. Round 6 starts with a chain 2. And then there is a single crochet in the, I think in the middle double crochet of that cluster. So that would be the second double crochet of previous round. We're going to do 1 single crochet. And then we chain 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So chain 5, and then we repeat that around for 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Figured that one out, I think. Which means round 7, which starts here, is perhaps another single crochet there, and that would be my first sort of border ring. Then a chain 1, and then in the chain 6 space, I'm not really being very entertaining, am I? I'm too busy trying to work this out. Sorry, I don't mean to ignore you guys. And then I'm going to run out of space here. Round 8. Where do you start round 8? Over here. What does that arrow mean? Please don't tell me this is where I was supposed to start the pattern from. There's more arrows. What do the arrows mean? Maybe round 8 starts from here. All right, let's forget what I wrote there. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'm saying round 8 starts here, not there. Round 8 starts here. So in third DC of round 7, we're going to chain 1 and do 1 single crochet. Then we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then my nemesis again, the thing, whatever this is. 1 puff, which is probably not a puff. 5 chains, and then 1 puff. Chain 2, single crochet into the what? That looks like it goes between the stitches. I'm running out of space here. I've probably done this wrong already, but I think then it goes half double crochet, chain 2, and then like we repeat that around. And then that is round 8. And it looks like for round 9, which I think starts here, we start with a chain 3, and we're basically just double crocheting around the outside, chaining 3 at each of the corners. And I don't know why there's a gap there. Maybe we skip the not maybe puff stitch thing. I don't know. That one was definitely harder. Now that I've tried to work them all out, I've crocheted 2 of them. It is time to actually check them against the written pattern and see how I did. So I've got up the 2 websites that my sister sent me, the place where she got these patterns from. If you are interested in those, I will link them down in the description so you can check them out for yourself. But having a brief glance, let me bring the laptop a little bit closer. Having a brief glance through the patterns, I think I did a lot better than I thought I was going to. With the first pattern, the so-called easy one, I honestly think, I was reading through the instructions here, I think I got it all correct. Which I was fairly confident with this one, but I didn't expect to get like everything right, but I think I did. So I'm kind of proud of myself for doing that. So that one can sit there for now. With the second one, this is where things start to unravel a little bit, but not too badly, not as badly as I thought they might. But checking out this one, I think I got everything correct for the most part, but where I stuffed up was those, the curved stitches in the center here and at the end here that I thought were puff stitches. Now, if I consult the crochet symbols chart, this is included on one of the websites, I was kind of right. Right, the symbol here, I think, is a half double crochet cluster. But I think where I went wrong is that I did too many like yarn over pull throughs before I completed the puff stitch, because I've got I got a few loops there, but if I look at the crochet picture of the square itself, I think there's only like 2 per puff in the completed crochet square on the website. So I was on the right track there. I just went a little bit too far down that track. I put in too many loops when I should have done fewer. But outside of that, I think I got the remainder of the pattern right. The one thing I did want to check was the symbols for this tall stitch. I did a triple crochet, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm thinking that's a taller stitch. And if I consult the crochet symbols and directions chart again, I think my instinct was right there. Looking at the symbols, I got more right than I thought. I got the chain correct, I got the slip stitch symbol correct, the single crochet, the half double crochet, double, triple, and yes, this one here with the 3 diagonal dashes through the vertical part of the T, that does represent a double, triple. So I should have made these stitches here in yellow, I should have made them taller, but for never having read a crochet chart before, I think I got pretty damn close. Not a bad effort at all. And then finally, we come to the third one. I did struggle with this one a little bit more, but consulting the written pattern, this is, again, I got a lot closer than I thought I would. Rounds 1 to 3, so these bits in the middle here, I got those correct. Round 4 is where I started having a few issues because I didn't know what the single crochet symbol in the circle meant. But I think my gut instinct was correct there as well, because having read the pattern, it says round 4, chain 2, single crochet at the back of the half double crochet from the previous row. Now, I take that to mean work in the back loop. So single crochet at the back of the half double crochet, to me that sounds like you work in the back loop. I wasn't entirely correct because I think, if I'm remembering right, I said that was worked in the front loop, but I was tossing up between the back loop and the front loop. So my guess was kind of accurate. It wasn't 100%, but I was in the ballpark. And for the remainder of this pattern, I'm sorry if you can hear all that noise. It is incredibly windy here today, so there's going to be a bit of that in the background. But for the remainder of this pattern, I did get a lot of it correct. Yeah, I would like to get around to crocheting this one day. I mean, just as a learning exercise, if nothing else. But yeah, I pleasantly surprised myself today. I did a lot better than I thought I would. It's kind of intimidating going into this, but once you break it down and like slowly make your way through it, it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. And, you know, I have to acknowledge that I recognize each of these 3 patterns as granny squares. It may have been more difficult if I had, you know, something else entirely, like I wasn't sure where the starting point was, for example, because with a granny square, I could pinpoint that, hey, you know, they start from the center here. And I think, you know, having crocheted for years, that helped as well, because while I didn't know what each symbol represented, I know enough about the crochet at this point to make an educated guess. So it definitely would have been a lot harder if I was like a newbie at crocheting. But no, I think I did okay. And a couple of these squares, they're really pretty too. So, well, this one might be pretty once I do it properly, but in like doing this, it gives me more options for granny squares for projects down the line. So yeah, all in all, I think we had a successful day today. But before we wrap up today, number one, if you are an experienced or advanced, crochet chart reader, your constructive criticism is welcome. I'm willing to listen and to learn. And if you have any other recommendations for patterns, pop them down in the comments, because I'd be willing to try something a little bit more challenging than a granny square, but like I don't know what that would be. So if there's a pattern that you like, just chuck the link down there and I will check it out. One more thing that we need to check out is, and today's featured creator on the hookup is the Crafty Weaver, and she says, I live in the Outer Hebrides, a Scottish island, and am a Harris Tweed weaver. I also have my own business that tries to contain all things woolly. I knit, sew, crochet, dye my own yarns inspired by the beautiful islands, and make knitting and crochet kits, including my own patterns. I'm completely self-taught in my crafting and love learning new things. I love learning new things too. My problem is that I find it difficult, no matter how much I enjoy them, I find it difficult to stick with them because I always go back to crochet. I need to be able to figure out some method that'll allow me to concentrate on something that's not crochet, for at least a small portion of time. But then I think, what the hell? What's the harm? I love crocheting. Why not keep doing it? But anyway, if you would like to check out the Crafty Weaver's links, they will all be down in the description, and so will a link to the hookup form if you'd like to apply for yourself. Thank you all for watching this video. Normally I like to get your feedback on whatever project it is that I happen to make, but I didn't really make one today. So I suppose I can ask for your feedback about the granny squares. How do you think I did reading the crochet charts? I think I did pretty good. I surprised myself. Like, genuinely, I did better than I thought I would. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Share it if you think it's worth sharing. And I will see you in the next one.